Check, check, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2.
Good morning. Have you ever had one of those weekends where everything you thought was going to happen doesn't? We were supposed to have a really good colleague of mine be our speaker today, and also my partner was supposed to come, and they had horrendous winds in Cleveland. They were both coming from there. And Friday, their flight kept getting delayed, and then it got delayed, and then it got delayed till Saturday, and then it got delayed, and then finally it got delayed till Monday. So, needless to say, you're stuck with me today. But, and through that, I kept thinking, okay, I need to have patience. I need to have patience. So our topic today is going to be the 3 Ps: presence, patience, and possibilities. So, but welcome. I'm the Reverend Dave Clements, and I'd like to welcome those who might be serving us on or tuning in online today. Let's get a shout out to them. We're so grateful that they're here watching. And also welcome to anyone who might be joining us for the first time or second time. We're so happy that you're here and hope that you'll feel welcome and glad to be here and join us afterwards for coffee hour. This is a happening place. Today in the afternoon at 3 p.m. will be Nancy Fox's memorial. So those of you who knew her plan to attend that. Also, the workshop on dementia, of course, has been canceled because the guest speaker is not here, but that will be postponed and be done at another time. And now, you might be wondering why I'm wearing this Hawaiian shirt, and now we have a special treat for you, a wonderful Academy Award skit.
It's a Saturday evening auction. I want to welcome you all today and invite you to join us for a Hawaiian holiday service auction. This will be Saturday, the 2nd of May. You are hereby beckoned to join us May 2nd. And I'd also like to say, you know, aloha is a word that means hello and goodbye, and I'm freezing. Reverend Dave, you've been very generous with what you've donated to the auction. Can you tell us why?
Well, the auction is such a fun time. It's an opportunity for us to get together as a community and just have that things that Unitarians do well, have fun. And, you know, when I first joined the Unitarian Church, they started talking about this auction, and I thought, what's that? And so my partner and I every year put together a fun party with themes and also a walk, and I learned that really enjoyed that. And so as I've served as a minister, I've always tried to support the auction. And one of the things that has become a staple is my lobster dinner. So that will be in there, but it's a fun time. You get to know people out away from here, and you just enjoy each other's company and really learn things about people that you didn't know, which are all good.
Well, you were supposed to, there was a lead-in there. He forgot the lead-in, but anyway, my husband and I go to the auction and we spend a bundle of money because it is a fundraiser. It is not an occasion to save money and get a bargain. So come prepared to spend. We enjoy such things as a walk in the woods and reading poetry and eating wonderful food with lovely people who also like to walk in the woods and read poetry and so forth. So there are lots of wonderful options, and it's great fun. Who's next?
Yes, indeed, we have things to satisfy all tastes. There are, including in 12 auction items right now for the live auction that include a Hawaiian feast, a Miami getaway, and then there are over 10 raffles and over 20 silent auction items. Now, I had some more jokes involving leis, but I'm going to skip those. And just say, join us May 2nd for this Hawaiian Holiday Services auction.
And this is what I'm going to ask each of you to do. Invite your friends, your neighbor, your business associate. Invite them to come. You know, I know you can do this. Many of you did this for our trivia night, and it was really great to have more than half the people here were not members. So you don't have to worry. We're not going to take your friends and convert them right away. But they will come and just enjoy a good time, and it's also helping us. We might as well get other people's money to spend rather than us just circulating our own. So anyway, thank you, and thank you to the committee that's actually putting this together. And if you'd still like to donate, you can. And just mark it May 2nd. Be here or be square. There you go.
Okay, I'm supposed to say stuff. Okay, go ahead. Okay, if you're wondering how to really enjoy this, you can start by bidding online between April 16th and May 2nd. But then you show up on May 2nd and you can bid some more. I mean, it's really just never ends. It's not about a bargain, remember. It's a fundraiser. So let's have fun at the fundraiser.
So,
We're all together in the last line there.
it's a Saturday evening auction. Woo! It's always fun, and I know you'll have fun. There's a lot of effort is being put into this, so. So now, only other thing I need to announce is the book fair coming up, August 26th through the 28th. I mean, March. And then also our work day is going to be on April 11th, this Saturday. So, and now let us turn to our choir for Make Them Hear You. We light this chalice for the gift of presence, for the courage to fully be here, to meet the moment as it is, with open hearts and attentive spirits. We light this chalice for the strength of patience, to trust that not all growth is immediate, not all healing is quick, and not all answers arrive at once. We light this chalice for the power of possibilities, for the new life waiting beneath the surface, for hope yet not seen, for the future that can still be shaped by love, courage, and imagination. May this flame remind us to be present to one another, patient with ourselves, and open to the possibilities still unfolding among us. And now, join us in singing our opening hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
To throw my hands up to hit that note. Will you join together in reciting our covenant? It is in your order of service. Love is the teaching of this church. The quest of truth is its daily task, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in community, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. This is our covenant with each and with all. And I would like to invite any of my young friends or my old friends forward for a time for all ages. I know sometimes it takes a while. It takes me about an hour to wake myself up in the morning just because. All right, you ready? Once upon a time, maybe yesterday, two friends were walking through Old Town Alexandria on a sunny spring Saturday. Now, they'd already been through snow and sleet, but it was sunny now. One friend lived nearby Old Town, and one friend was visiting from Berryville, Virginia, a small town surrounded by farms and mountains. Now, the sidewalks in Alexandria, as you probably have seen, were filled with people on the streets. Cars honked. Can I hear some honk? Honk, 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 honk. Sirens wailed. Overhead, airplanes were taking off from National Airport. The almost deafening sounds of the city surrounded the pair. And suddenly the country friend said, "Oh, I hear a cricket." And the city friend said, "What? You couldn't possibly hear a cricket in all this noise." No, I'm sure," said the country friend. "I hear a cricket." No way. And the country friend listened carefully for a moment and walked across the street, looking both ways before crossing. Found one of those big cement planters that sometimes have trees and other things, and looked under there, and sure enough, there was a cricket. "Oh, that's incredible," the city friend said. "You must have superhuman ears." Wait, I gotta see. Nope, they're good. Okay. The country friend said, "No, my ears are no different than yours. It all depends what you're listening for." "That can't be," said the city friend. "I could never hear a cricket in this noise. And it just depends on what you really pay attention to. Let me show you." Reaching into a pocket, the country friend pulled out a few coins and dropped them on the sidewalk. And sure enough, when those coins hit the sidewalk, even with all that noise, everybody within 20 feet turned and looked to see if it was their coins that had fallen. "See what I mean?" asked the country friend. "It really all depends on what you choose to focus on." So, I would love it if you will, and I will, pay attention to those things that sometimes get overlooked. I know that sounds strange, doesn't it? Listen for what gets overlooked, but I think you get what I mean. Pay attention. Thank you so much for your attention here and now, for the cricket clicker, and for the coins. Your mom was the cricket clicker. I would like to ask you to return to your seats. If you would like, because we're all hanging out here this morning, there's a small table toward the back with some coloring pages and some finger labyrinths that help you pay attention to your inner self. All right, have at it. Thank you all.
Thanks, Laura. In the service where you can come forward and light a candle of a joy or a sorrow, I now invite you to do that. This is a time in our service where we take an offering, and I want to introduce Bonnie Brandt, and she will introduce who our sharing our plate with is for the rest of this month.
Hi, I'm Bonnie. I'm a member of this church, and I'm head of social justice. And I would really like to introduce you to Calista Johnson. She's from Together We Bake, and she'll have some flyers outside, so please stop by. If you've ever had their granola and cookies, you know how wonderful they are.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here this morning. My name is Calista Johnson, and I work for Together We Bake, which is a nonprofit located right here in Alexandria. It's a job training and personal development program for no-income to low-income women, and we give them job skills to help prepare them and get them back out into the workforce. The program was established in 2012, and we have over 300 graduates as of today. And we just recently graduated our recent class on Thursday, actually. I also am an alumni of the program. I went through the program in spring 2014, and I've been working with the organization ever since. This program has really changed my life. A lot of the women who come through the program have been homeless, out of work for a long period of time, previously incarcerated, have dealt with a lot of traumas in their past. And when they come to Together We Bake, we want it to be a safe, comfortable, uplifting, and motivating environment. They walk through the door with no judgment. We accept them for who they are and where they are. And our responsibility to them is to not only prepare them for the workforce, but we also want to focus on their personal development by having our groups that we have together so that they don't continue to make the same decisions going forward and end up back where they were previously. These ladies have been through so much, and the only thing that they need is support and opportunity. A lot of people want to work, but they're not giving the opportunity to do so just based off of their looks, their situations. And during the program, we allow them to get their ServSafe certification, which is learning the safety guidelines and policies in the food industry. This would allow them to walk into a job and not have to apply for entry-level positions, but those manager positions where they can get higher wages. The goal is to rebuild our community by getting them out and working and not relying on living off the system. They learn how to make our delicious products, and I apologize. I wanted to bring some to sell today, but we had system issues, so I'm hoping I can come back and do that for you all. But I did bring flyers. You can purchase online if you would like to in the meantime. But they learn job skills. We treat it as a job. They have high expectations, attendance, and learning how to work as a team, and all of those hard and soft skills that you need in order to be great at your job. So we not only want them to get a job, but we want them to be able to keep a job, which is very important. The magic behind our organization is that once they graduate, it's not over then. It's a lifelong family, sisterhood. We support them forever, as long as they need it. We have alumni events every other month so that each class is able to get to know their fellow sisters who have come before them. We partner up with a lot of community organizations to help the women get clothes. We also have a clothing closet at our location, so we take donations for clothes, shoes, hygiene products, purses, anything that the ladies will need, but we also look out for their families as well. We do the toy drive during Christmas, the backpacks for school, coat drives during the winter. We try to support them as best we can, and anything that we don't offer personally, we use our resources. We look for volunteers to come in and teach those additional skills that we can't teach. We call them guest chefs. And we also look for volunteers to be job counselors to help the ladies work on their resumes and interviewing skills so that they're really prepared when they go out looking for jobs. The organization really changed my life. I went through the program expecting to get a job, but I also ended up dealing with my past trauma. And it was something that I had not spoken of prior to participating in the program. And so not only did I find a job, but I was also able to start my healing process and find peace within by dealing with my trauma because of the environment that was provided for me. It was the first place where I felt safe enough to share. So it is something that I truly stand behind. I have seen so many women's lives change and transition, and it's magical to see. I mean, I love my job, and I am so lucky to be able to experience that feeling and see that change over and over again. So I thank you so much for any support that you provide, and thank you so much.
Thank you, and give generously. I know we have shared with them in the past, and they're really, I haven't tasted, but many of you have told me how good their food is. So, now let us prepare to take our offering. With the ushers, please come forward. As part of our pledge drive, I'd like just to report that we are about halfway through on the dollar amounts, so keep pledging if you haven't. And also, we always have our stewardship committee has asked people to give a little reflection, and today we'll hear from Claire Brolin. So Claire.
Hi. My name is Claire. I keep that name Brolin because it's my children's name, my children's last name. And I'm divorced. As a single mom, it's hard to figure out where to put my money, what to budget for, where to spend my time. But I decided to increase my giving to this church by 5% this year because it's easier when I make decisions based on my values, and then I know in my heart, I feel better about what I'm doing. So even though a lot of times I seem kind of overwhelmed and scattered and I'm running around and I'm running to church, it's because I want to do that. My core values are family, service, and joy. And so when I give time or money to this church, I feel like that is really a place that supports my values. Because with family, I see all the families here as a youth advisor, as an OWL facilitator for both children and adults, and right now participating on the Director for Religious Education Search Committee. I see how this place supports families and my own family, my own kids. Service, of course, is our prayer, and supporting amazing organizations like Together We Bake. This is just something that's important to me. And then joy, that's what we get when we're together and we do these things that are our values that we share. So I encourage you to also look into your heart and look at what your values are and support this pledge drive. Also, it's a really good thing that Together We Bake didn't bring baked goods today because the youth group baked last night. And we have some amazing things for sale to support our future youth group in field trips they want to do and the trip to Boston, and also to support this church. So check them out afterwards. Thanks.
Thanks, Claire. Yeah, she's just an example of so many of you that make this what it is, this great community. So thank you. Choir, take down this wall.
Sing
Thank you, choir. So yesterday it became apparent that our guest preacher and also my partner that were scheduled to be here today, we're not going to be able to make it. Kind of became a comedy of errors, you know. I don't know if you remember the wind that we had here in Friday. Well, in Cleveland, Ohio area, it was even more so, and I would get a call saying his flight had been delayed, and then a call saying now it had been delayed again, and most of Friday went like that, and Saturday, and then finally, the final call had not delayed till Monday. So, of course, I realized, well, the sermon is mine. And when you're placed in situations like that, you know, I really try to reflect on things that might be important and something that could be a message that would be timely for us at this time. And it kept coming up, these three words: presence, patience, and possibility. And then I started thinking about some of the most important moments in ministry are not always when I had the right words, which you always hope as a minister that you do, but those moments when I simply showed up. And I know that I had this wonderful experience about a week and a half ago with Val McKechnie. I had been following her progress and talking with her daughter and said, can you come and visit with her? And I had that wonderful opportunity on that Tuesday afternoon to visit with her. Of course, all the way over there, I had talked to this person on the phone or left messages and that sort of thing, but you always wonder, well, what will this be like? What are you going to say? What are you going to be? And I kept just thinking, well, just be. Just be, Dave. You don't have to control anything. Just be. And so I came in and she was ready for me, and I sat down by the side of her bed, and as we began to talk, the conversations just went to her life, her experiences, her love of here, the people here. And before long, an hour had passed, and both of us were so much better for having that conversation. And she knew that her time would be short, and she said, I hope you're not mad, but I don't want to have one of those things where everybody comes and tells you how wonderful you are, and you're not there to refute any of it. And I said, no, I understand. And instead what she did is she called upon friends and family to come and visit with her, which meant a great deal. And of course, she passed away last Sunday morning early. But I reflect upon that in the sense of the idea of presence. You know, so many times in our lives, we just, with everything going on and all the other stuff, we sometimes forget the importance of just being present. But of course, being present sometimes alone isn't enough, because if we stay there long enough, we discover the second practice, which is patience. And when you think about transformation, it's really a slow process. And one of the things that I have learned as a transitional minister over the years is that as I go into various congregations, that building that trust takes time, that healing takes time, that congregations grow slowly, and people change slowly. And congregations don't transform in a single meeting or a sermon. They transform slowly through conversations, through mistakes, through forgiveness, through trying again and again. I've had the privilege to serve as a developmental minister, serving in South Africa, one of my first experiences being a minister outside of the United States. I learned the importance of healing In that particular congregation, I knew that something wasn't right in the sense that the former minister and his new wife wouldn't talk to his ex-wife, and it seemed like the congregation was divided. And of course, I didn't know past history, I didn't know any of that, but as I learned the past history, when the two parties, the former minister and his ex-wife, actually came together and began to talk with each other, healing began to happen in that congregation. And it was a slow process, and I remember the Sunday where I was sharing something from a minister, a colleague of mine, and both of them afterwards came and said, you know, when we worked together, we knew that minister, and that simple thing brought them together and brought that congregation together and brought healing that began to take place. When I was serving in Santa Rosa, a congregation that had gone through 2 ministers in a matter of 18 months was greatly troubled, and as we worked together and began to realize and try and empower them as the good people that they were, in a matter of 3.5 years, they came around, and the congregation today is empowered and moving forward. I've had that privilege of seeing that. And even though I've been here 6 months, I know I put out something about a week ago. You know, I was reflecting back, and it seemed like only 6 months. Wow, it seemed longer in a good way. But I think about where you were when I arrived and where you are now. And it's just such a blessing to serve you and to see how you're coming together, how you're learning, how you're growing, how you're healing, and how you're really being a welcoming community that people can come to, feel a part of, want to be a part of, and how you can support each other. And so I applaud you, but we're not done yet. We've got more work to do. But when presence meets patience, then something extraordinary begins to happen. Possibility appears. Relationships deepen, communities grow, people rediscover hope, and new ideas emerge. And I see that in this congregation. In the short time I've been here, I see a growing engagement. I see people stepping into leadership. I see a renewed energy. I see a new excitement. And of course, possibility doesn't appear overnight. It grows quietly in a space created by presence and patience. But the three together say, presence says, I'm here with you. Patience says, I'm willing to stay. And possibility says, something new may yet emerge. So speaking as your minister, I have learned this simple but powerful that change rarely comes from urgency. It comes from people who are willing to be present, patient, and open to possibility. And as I look at you as a body, as a congregation, there are so many possibilities that I see for you. I look at the land that this place sits on and the opportunity we have to be stewards of it, and also to welcome others from the community here to events, to various things that take place here. And I see this place as continuing to be a place where people feel welcomed, where people can come and be felt as if all the cares in the world can be not solved, but understood, where people can come together and make things happen. You are a powerful people. Many of you have been present for a long time, and many of you have a lot of patience. And I applaud you for that. And I ask for your help in helping me to sometimes be more patient with you. But the possibilities, you've got the presence and you're working on the patience, but now let's think of the possibilities that you have as a congregation. One time we had 2 services. That can still happen. I know John and his group are doing everything possible to welcome new members, and we have welcomed 12 new members since September 1st. So but, it takes a village, it takes a community. And I see this congregation unfolding in ways that you can't even imagine, but in ways where you rise to your full potential of who you can be and what you're about. I'm reminded of an experience that I had while living in California, which was really the grove of redwood trees was like 30 minutes from my house, a thing called Armstrong Grove, which I went to many times. But I remember last summer, before I left to move out here, I was standing in the grove of redwood trees, and I don't know if you've ever stood among redwood trees, but there's this awesome feeling as you look up and these trees are soaring high up into the air, and their trunks are massive and their presence is almost overwhelming. And when you stand there, as I did, I realized something remarkable, that many of the trees that were already growing hundreds of years ago were there before our nation existed, before any of us were born. And they have simply been standing there. So redwoods teach us something about the spiritual practices of life. First, present. Redwood trees are deeply rooted. They show up exactly where they're planted. Through storms, through drought, through changing seasons, they remain. And second, patience. Redwoods grow slowly. They don't rush their way towards the sky. Year after year, ring after ring, they become what they are meant to become. And then something extraordinary happens. Over time, presence and patience create possibility, and a forest emerges. Life gathers beneath their branches, new trees begin to grow, and the entire ecosystem begins to flourish. All because something was willing to stay and grow slowly. I sometimes think congregations are a lot like that. A community becomes strong not because of a single moment or a single leader or a single program. It becomes strong because people choose again and again to show up, to stay with one another, to believe that something meaningful can grow here. Presence, patient, possibility. They're not just ideas. They're the way transformation happens. Presence plants the seed, patience tends the soil, and possibility is the quiet miracle that grows. When we choose presence, practice patience, and trust possibility, we become partners with the slow, beautiful work of transformation. We're simply called to show up for one another, stay with one another, and remain open to what love might still create among us. And when we do that, presence, patience, and possibility become quietly changing the world. May you be a people who show up for one another, practice the quiet courage of presence, and cultivate patience for the slow work of healing and growth, and may remain open to the possibility, to the surprising ways hope can emerge when we're connected to one another. Because the future is not built in a single moment, it grows slowly, wherever people choose to be present, to be patient, and to believe together that something new, better is still possible. So, presence, patience, and possibility. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. Please join us in our closing hymn, 1020, Woye. Please join me as we say the words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So before you leave today, I want you to remember this. Change rarely arrives all at once, and transformation almost never shouts. More often it begins quietly with someone who chooses to be present, with someone who decides to practice patience, with someone who dares to believe in possibility. Presence grounds us in this moment. Patience reminds us that growth takes time, and possibilities invite us to imagine a future not yet written. And when these three come together, presence, patience, and possibility, something powerful begins to unfold. A conversation that needed to happen, a relationship that begins to heal, a community that becomes a little more courageous, a world that bends even slightly towards love. So as you go back into your week, into your homes, your work, your conversations, your worries, and your hopes, carry these three companions with you. Be present to the people before you. Practice patience with the work of becoming. And stay open to the possibilities that love is always creating. Because even now, in ways we cannot yet fully see, the future is quietly taking shape among us. Go in peace, go in courage, go in possibility.